Chapter 36 of Married Thrice to Salted Fish. Although Lu Wancheng was seriously ill, under Lin Chingyu's careful care, there were very few times of embarrassment and he never vomited blood. He couldn't save Lu Wancheng's life, but at the very least, he could let him walk cleanly and with dignity. Nasty things like blood should never appear on his body. Lu Wancheng vomiting blood seemed to have turned on the switch for the poison to release. More and more gushed out. After a while, it dyed red the front of his clothes and the brocade quilt. He then fainted. "Eldest young master," Halu cried. "Eldest young master, please don't scare the servant. Shaojun, what do we do?" The servants of the Blue Wind Pavilion had never been faced with this sort of battle. All the servants were flustered, waiting for Lin Chinggyu to take charge of the situation. After Liu Qiao-song hit the back of his head against the pillar, he was sent kneeling to the ground by several servants. He had lost all dignity as a young master. Seeing so much blood, he remembered how he'd done the same all over that singer that day. His eyes were about to split and his eyes were red as he shouted happily. "Lin Chinggyu, do you see? Your husband vomited so much blood. He's going to die. No matter how good you are at medicine, no matter how many 1,000-year fleece flower root you give him, you won't be able to save him." Oh my gosh, this freaking fucker. Okay, just a couple of more chapters. Lin Chinggyu looked at him and suddenly let out a low laugh. That voice carried a chill that pierced through the bone. Paired with his eyes, there was unexpectedly a sense of bewitching coquettishness, sending chills down people's spines. When Lu Xiaosong came back to his senses, he was invited out by the servant of the Blue Wind Pavilion. The curtains in front of the bed were lowered, and only the shadows of the figures behind could be seen. Lin Chinggyu was busy all through till midnight. It could be said that he saved Lu Wancheng's life. The servants helped Lu Wancheng wipe off the blood and put on clean clothes and bedding. Lu Wancheng lay quiet and peaceful, sleeping spotless, as if feeling no pain at all. Lin Chinggyu watched him for a while. The main courtyard sent a servant to deliver a message, saying that the madam was asking the Shaojun to come over. Liu Xiaosong had run to the Blue Wind Pavilion to make scene, making his seriously ill brother vomit blood. This was considered a major event in the house, and even Nanan Hao was also disturbed. After hearing the ins and outs of the matter, he said angrily, "Where is that unfilial son now?" Now that the matter had blown up to this point, Liang Shi no longer kept up the pretense of being a loving mother to Wancheng. Making concessions in order to gain advantages, sobbing and sniffling, she said, "Master Hao knows that Wancheng is ill, but do you remember that Shaosong is also ill? How can his illness be compared to Wancheng's? He knew that his brother was seriously ill, but he went to the Blue Wind Pavilion to kick up a fuss, spouting insolent remarks. Should he not be punished?" "Naturally, he should be punished. It's just that after Shaosong was kicked out of the Blue Wind Pavilion by the servants, he unexpectedly fainted. The doctor said that his body was weak and that he mustn't get angry. Saying so may sound bad, but Wancheng, he's already like this. Does Master Hao really want to punish Shaosong while he is ill, possibly worsening his condition?" Langshi wiped her tears, observing Nanan Hao's expression. "Master Hao doesn't know, but Shaosong just found a cure for his unmentionable illness. He was too eager to get well, wishing to provide descendants for Master Hao. In his eagerness, he impulsively contradicted his elder brother and his wife. If Master Hao wishes to punish him, I, his mother, have nothing to say. My only request is that Master Hao wait for him to feel better before punishing him. Having no descendants has always been a matter of utmost concern for Nanan Hao. Hearing Liang Shi say that Liu Xiaosong's unmentionable illness had hope of being cured, he couldn't help but waver. Is what you say true? Liang Shi nodded again and again. I wouldn't dare deceive Master Hao. Lin Qingyu watched on with cold eyes, only feeling that these two were wasting his time. Nanan Hao glanced at Lin Qingyu and said, Forget it. Let the two of them recuperate first. Other matters will be discussed later. Lin Qingyu walked out of the main courtyard and Huan Tong immediately greeted him. Young master, what did Master Hao say? Lin Qingyu sneered. Were you still counting on him? Huan Tong couldn't believe it. But the third young master made young Master Hao vomit blood. It can't be that he just plans to let this matter go, right? Enough, Lin Qingyu said. Go and find Zhongxi Quan. Lu Wanzheng slept for 3 days before waking up. Although Liu Xiaosong was paid punishment, it was also warned by Nanan Hao not to approach the Blue Wind Pavilion and disturb his brother's recovery. In addition, Nanan Hao also asked the steward to go to the market to buy some 1,000-year fleece flower root for Liu Xiaosong to use as medicine. Liu Xiaosong ate the precious medicinal herbs like a meal. Piles and piles of money were spent, but it still didn't work. By this time, he realized that he might have been deceived by the quack doctor. In a fit of anger, Liu Xiaosong imprisoned the quack doctor in the firewood room of the mansion, threatening him that if he couldn't think of a way to cure him, he would chop off his hands so that he wouldn't even be able to carry his bowl to beg for food. The quack doctor was frightened out of his wits. Who knows whether the emergency brought out by his quack wittedness or what, but he actually came out was a prescription. Liu Xiaosong was skeptical but prepared a medicinal pill according to his prescription. After taking a few pills, he really felt that his body had changed. His spirit was excited, his body was hot, and his waist and legs were also able to get stronger. Liu Xiaosong was overjoyed, thinking that soon his shameful illness should be cured. Liang Shi was also overjoyed. The son left by the first wife had only a few days to live. Her daughter was now the side concubine of the crown prince. If her son could be cured and leave descendants for the Hao mansion, her life would be complete. The only thing that worried her a bit was that, though she had someone bring news into the Eastern Palace to tell Lu Niantao what has been going on in the mansion, she hadn't gotten a reply. So she prepared a generous gift and sent someone to bring it to the eunuch, who helped mother and daughter pass a password to each other. Unexpectedly, the eunuch threw the person out, coldly throwing out this sentence: The Nanan House mansion has truly raised a good daughter. When Liang Shi heard these words, she felt very anxious, but she couldn't find out what happened. She wasn't able to enjoy her comfortable days for long before she began to panic again. She didn't know what about Lu Niantao was good, but Lin Qingyi knew very well. Hu Ji brought him news. His medicine had worked. A few days ago, Shao Cheng's head suddenly began to hurt. He had a splitting headache, deafness, and pain in his eyes. It made him want to hit his head against the wall. Imperial physicians from the imperial hospital gathered in the eastern palace, but after looking for a long time, they couldn't find the cause. Concubine Chen ordered a thorough investigation into the expenditures of the eastern palace, from the food, tea, and water to all the clothing. No detail was overlooked. Still, nothing could be found. At this time, Concubine Chen's female head servant said that since the problem wasn't in the crown prince's palace, maybe it was in another palace. As a result, the palaces where the two concubines resided were also carefully searched. The incense Lu Tao used in her palace was found and checked by the imperial physician. But Shao Cheng was suspicious by nature. Even if the imperial doctor said that there was no problem with the incense, he still ordered that no one in the entire eastern palace should use incense in the future. Shao Cheng was no fool. The same trick couldn't be used on him twice. Lin Chingyi knew that Lu Tao had outlived her usefulness. Such being the case, he ought to squeeze out whatever value she had left. Imperial physician who Imperial physician who was loyal to his father and he had helped them so much. He deserved something in return. The cause of the crown prince's headache could not be found. The imperial doctors of the imperial hospital were all helpless in the face of this crisis. No one expected that it would be Hu Ji, a newcomer to the imperial hospital, who would finally find the cause. There was nothing wrong with the incense used by the crown princess side concubine, but if it was mixed with Feng Shui Huang and Sheng Cha Si, it will cause wind heat syndrome, easily leading to a headache. Feng Shui Huang and Sheng Cha Si were the special incense used by the Empress and concubine Chen. The crown prince went to Fengyi Palace and Changle Palace every day to pay his respects. Occasionally, he would go to the side concubines at night. After the truth was revealed, concubine Chen was furious. She thought of how the Nananhao mansion and the empress had a relationship by marriage. She thought that this must have been deliberately done by Lu Tao and that it was instigated by the empress. Concubine Chen cursed at Lu Tao, calling her a despicable woman, and delivered 2 slaps to her face. She almost raised this matter to the emperor, but was stopped by Shao Cheng. I feel objectively I feel bad for Lu Tao just for this scene because she didn't do anything wrong per se, she did not want to harm him, but she got used as a pawn. But yeah, if her brother and mother weren't that plotty, I don't know. Yeah, see, don't mess with people who are not messing with you. If you mess with them, don't you think you should expect some kind of response? In the eastern palace, Lu Tao grew pale from crying. She insisted that she hadn't known about it. She only used this incense because His Highness liked it. Shao Cheng knew that she wasn't lying. Lu Tao counted on the eastern palace to support her and her mother. She had no motive to lay a hand on him. Furthermore, it hadn't been easy for Shao Cheng to acquire the position of crown prince. Before he successfully ascends the throne, he didn't want to make trouble with Nananhao. It was an unintentional mistake on the part of Lu Shi, and for the sake of Nananhao's face, Shao Cheng did not publicize this matter. He only asked that Lu Tao move out of the side hall. After that, Liang Shi never heard from her daughter again. Lu Niantao had completely fallen out of favor, with no possibility of changing her fortunes. If Shao Cheng dies, she would become a lifelong widow in the palace. If Shao Cheng ascends to the throne, she would be nothing but an abandoned concubine in the cold palace. She couldn't blame anyone. From the beginning to end, it was her own choice. And Hu Ji, who was young and promising, had a bright future. He had entered the appreciation of the crown prince and concubine Chen, becoming a mighty newcomer in the imperial hospital. His future was limitless. Lin Qingyu had a complete picture of the situation in the Eastern Palace. But when he talked to Lu Wancheng, he only told him the first half. Shao Cheng had a headache. The imperial doctors were helpless. If this dragged it on, medicines and treatments would be ineffective. Even Hua Tuo would find him difficult to treat. Hearing this, Lu Wancheng said, "Then does that mean I don't need to drink the medicine anymore? The poison is really painful." Lin Qingyu's chest clenched and he said, "If you don't want to drink, don't drink it." Lu Wancheng looked at him for a while, then laughed. This maneuver was truly well done. It is worthy of appreciation, Hualu. Oh, wait, what? Oh. This maneuver was truly well done. It is worthy of appreciation. He said that to Lin Qingyu, and he called for Hualu. Hualu brought in a wooden box carved from mahogany. It had 5 layers and 7 to 8 drawers, large and small. There were handles on top. Holes are punched on both sides, through which strong cloth ropes were passed through. It was a medicine box for a doctor carried on his back when he went out. Lin Qingyu noticed that there was a strange symbol engraved in an inconspicuous corner of the medicinal box. It was the symbol that Lu Wancheng drew on the paper last time. "I asked the carpenter to make it according to the drawings I designed," Lu Wancheng said. "In the future, when you enter the Imperial Hospital, you should carry this medicine box with you when you go out." Lin Qingyu smiled. "Thank you." Looking at the smiling face of the person beside him, Lu Wancheng couldn't hold back and said, "They say one should return politeness for politeness. Won't you give me a gift in return?" Lin Qingyu asked. "What do you want in return?" Lu Wancheng thought about it seriously and put on a distressed look. I want to see what Dr. Lin looked like in his wedding dress." Lin Qingyu ... For him, marrying another man as a male wife had been the thing most against his will that he had ever done. Even if the person he married turned out to be his friend and confidant, it cannot change this. To have him wear a wedding dress again was tantamount to reminding him of the humiliation at that time. However, if Lu Wancheng really wanted to see it that much, it wasn't impossible for him. Before he could respond, Lu Wancheng reached out, trying to touch the long hair hanging down on his chest. Maybe he found it dazzling. Lu Wancheng tried several times but failed to catch it. "Look, you're all tangled about it." Lu Wancheng smiled triumphantly. "I'm joking. Can't you hear it?" "I can't," Lin Qingyu said softly. "You always do this. Make it so that people are unable to tell true from not." Lu Wancheng said that he wouldn't drink the medicine, but then he still obediently took it as scheduled. That night, Lin Qingyu watched Lu Wancheng fall asleep. There was a rush of footsteps outside the door, and Hualu came running in, out of breath. Xiaojun! Lin Qingyu raised his hand to signal her to lower her voice. What happened? Walu panted. Third young master. He's gone. Lin Qingyu asked. What do you mean by gone? He's dead. Lin Qingyu said. Oh. He covered Lu Wancheng with the quilt and said softly, I have done something bad again, Wancheng. Ooh, see, I told you guys that that guy would be in coffin in just a couple of chapters. It just came early than I expected. See? So nice. See? Like, he was just being like this kind, caring person in Blue Wind Pavilion, and people are like just dropping dead, having headaches. I think this is the type of sneakiness I like, you know, not the brute force of, yeah, let's duel, or let's pick a fight, or let's scream at each other. This is more subtle and without even implicating oneself. Like the smartness, it's peak.